If you've got a limited budget and you want a portable Apple device that'll let you do absolutely all sorts, there are now two great options. There's also bad news because they're also completely different devices. There's never been a more important time to ask this question. Should you buy an iPad or a MacBook? Specifically, the new MacBook Neo or the new M4 powered iPad Air. Well, I've been testing both devices over the last few days and I've got a lot of thoughts, and I will get to my recommendations in a moment. But first, I want to address something really ridiculous that keeps coming up online. You see, a lot of people seem to be debating whether you should buy a MacBook Neo or a MacBook Air. And to me, that question is nonsense, because if you need a MacBook Air, just buy a MacBook Air. It is a far better device than either of these. It's a faster chip, more storage, bigger screen, better speakers, it's thinner, it's got a longer battery life, it's got a backlit keyboard, it's got touch up. Listen, I could go on. And you could even buy a refurbished MacBook Air for roughly the same money and get an older M series model that will absolutely fly along for years. So if you think you need a MacBook Air, stop watching this video and buy a MacBook Air. You'll be happy with it. The real question, I think, is if you want a portable, budget-friendly Apple computer, should you buy an iPad or the new MacBook Neo? And you might ask, why does the MacBook Neo exist? Because Apple have never really played in the computers for normies market before. I got chatting with someone recently and they wanted my advice on what to buy. He said he just needed something for email, browsing, online shopping, banking, and the occasional Zoom call. And every Apple computer I suggested to him was too expensive and he really didn't want an iPad. So unfortunately, he bought the Chromebook in the end, which are frankly horrible devices, but to be fair, Apple couldn't really compete with them up until now. You see, that kind of user is the exact market Apple is going after with the MacBook Neo. And in that sense, I really agree with MKBHD when he said that's
potentially Apple's most disruptive product in the last 10 plus years.
This is a budget-friendly laptop powered by an old iPhone chip that's powerful enough to do all sorts of everyday stuff. Because if we're honest, most of us are normal users. It's email, web-based apps, browsing, documents, and maybe a bit of light photo editing at best. And that is exactly where this laptop really shines. Now, the first thing that surprised me about this one is the weight. I expected it to be incredibly light. It is not. It's actually a little bit heavier than a MacBook Air. It also feels a bit fatter, a bit chunkier, but it has this really nice kind of solidity to it. It feels very different from other Apple laptops, whilst also feeling premium with this nice all aluminium body. The screen is plenty bright. The keyboard is a classic MacBook keyboard. It's really comfortable. It's not noisy or plasticky like you get in, a Chromebook. And all the different colors are brilliant. I went with the indigo and I think the color match keyboard looks absolutely fantastic in person. Also, small observation here, black MacBook keys tend to get that awful shiny, worn look over time. Just look at my old MacBook Pro here. I wonder whether a lighter colored keyboard like this one might actually hide that kind of wear much better over time. So I'd say if you can, pick one of the colored models, even though I know silver with the white keyboard is probably the classic choice. So a few practical points on this one. In terms of ports, you get two USB-C ports, but they are different speeds. The rear port is USB 3 and the other port is USB 2. And that means charging and external drives should ideally go in this one. And that means if you want to use an external display, it'll also need to go in that USB-C 3 port. It won't be supported in the other one. You also get a headphone jack in quite an odd place, but it's good to see. If you want a charger, that's extra. It doesn't come included in the price, just a cable, which sounds quite annoying, but if you're anything like me, you probably have about 12 different chargers in a gazillion different places in your house and you don't need another one. You're also going to need some dongles. If this is your first Apple laptop, welcome to dongle tax. If you want to use HDMI or USB-A or any extra ports beyond the two that you get, you're probably going to need a hub, and unfortunately that is just part of modern laptop life. Now, in terms of performance for everyday computing, this thing really surprised me. It really flies along. I'm talking multiple browsers open, things like Claude, Canva, Gmail, all running at once. This thing handles it with no problem at all. Where it starts to struggle is with heavy grade desktop software. Now, I tested it with Final Cut and Logic, which should be optimized for Apple Silicon. I'm going to show you more on how I got on with those in my longer term review, but just for now, yeah, they run. But this machine only has 8 GB of RAM and it maxes out at 500 112 gigabytes of storage. So if you are maybe editing large video projects, you're going to hit those limits quite quickly. If you want to play AAA games, it won't like it. Same with heavy photo editing or design work. But this laptop was never really designed for those kind of pro workloads. Full day battery, really responsive, absolutely perfect for students, parents, casual users, or anyone who mainly lives in a browser. It's designed to be an everyday Mac, and for that, it's excellent. I reckon Apple are going to sell a boatload of these. Now we're going to get to the iPad in just a second, but before we do, I wanted to show you some of the latest iPad accessories from this week's sponsor, ESR. Firstly, there's the UltraFit Armorite screen protector. This makes it easy for even an idiot like me to look after my iPad screen in just 3 steps. You see, you put your iPad in the tray, close the lid, and pull the tab. Done. And look at that. No bubbles. There's also their Shift magnetic case, which gives you so many different angles to make the most of your shiny new iPad. Whether it's viewing, browsing, typing, gaming, or writing, you're all good. And you can even stick it on your fridge. There's even room around the back to tuck away a pencil here, but look closely, this isn't the mega expensive Apple option, it's ESR's Geo Digital Pencil, a much more cost-effective alternative to the Apple Pencil Pro. And when I say cost-effective, this is about a quarter of the price of Apple's version. Now you still get some great features, including fast charging via USB-C. It even has a battery display too. It works with Apple Find My, it's got a shortcut button on the top, and unlike Apple's options, it actually comes in a range of colors. And finally, if you're really missing the backlight on the keyboard with the MacBook Neo, you can grab this Rebound 360 case, which gives you a gorgeous backlit keyboard and a massive trackpad plus full protection all around your iPad, with the ability to type in vertical or portrait mode. You can check out all these accessories at the links below, and a big thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video. Now you might wonder, with all of that good stuff going on with the MacBook Neo, why on earth would you buy an iPad instead? Well, because for the same investment, the iPad gives you a completely different kind of device. The iPad Air M4 edition here is basically a shapeshifter. You can use it with a keyboard and a mouse, like a laptop. You can also draw on it with a pencil, or you can prod and swipe at it as a tablet, even one-handed. You see, to me, that versatility really matters. For example, you might plug it into a monitor and work on documents. In fact, with the new iPad OS and extended display support, you can sometimes convince yourself that you're actually not working on an iPad at all. Until that is, you try doing something that's super easy on a laptop, like moving files around, and then the illusion can quickly slip. Anyway, you can then detach it and catch up with your favorite Netflix show, and then add to your journal with an Apple Pencil. Then take it to bed and read a book or have some nice private time. See, a MacBook only does one thing. It is a computer. The iPad can be several different devices depending on what you need at the time, and I think that really matters. Last year I reviewed the 13-inch iPad Air M3, and honestly, it felt huge, heavy, annoyingly heavy considering it's called iPad Air. So this year I picked up the 11-inch model, and as soon as I got it out of the box, it just felt right. It's considerably lighter than the MacBook Neo, not as light as my iPad Pro, but then it's also not the same price, and it's still really nice to hold. Plus, it's still powerful enough for basically everything I need from it. The M4 chip in here is ridiculously fast. Just 2 years ago, this was powering a MacBook Pro machine, so it'll easily chew through so much more than the MacBook Neo ever could hope to. It also goes up to 1 terabyte of storage, so if you're wanting to do more pro workflows, you're going to be all good here. Not to mention, this packs 12 gigabytes of RAM as opposed to 8 in the MacBook Neo. Do you see what I mean? It's a bit of a tricky choice. Obviously, Apple want you to have both, and FYI, they do actually work quite nicely as a pair if you have the iPad Air running in sidecar mode as an extended display. So who should buy what? Now, in my opinion, you should buy the iPad Air if you take lots of handwritten notes. Maybe you're a drawer or a sketcher. Maybe you watch loads of content and you want to travel light as possible. Or maybe you just want one flexible device that handles casual, creative, and productivity tasks. On the other hand, buy the MacBook Neo if you're a writer. If you type a lot, you'll love this. If you want to do lots of multitasking, this will work better for you. If you manage lots of files and you need to move them around, you'll prefer using macOS to do that. If you prefer, or you're coming from a more traditional computer experience, this is probably going to be the easier option. Or maybe you just want the cheapest way to get into the Apple ecosystem via macOS. And before you start crying about the lack of a backlit keyboard, here's a thought. Go to bed earlier or turn a light on. easy. My honest take, if you forced me to choose one of these for work, I'd pick the MacBook every day of the week. Mac OS is simply better for productivity. But if you want the most versatile device, that's a bit different. The iPad Air probably pips this one to the post. And for a similar price, this actually might be a far better choice for a lot of people. So I'm curious, which one of these would you pick? The iPad Air M4 or the MacBook Neo? Let me know down in the comments. And if there are any specific tests you want to see me run on either device, let me know below and I'll include them in my long-term reviews. See you in the next one.